David here with Fig Boot on Pens. If you haven't noticed, my schedule lately has been to come out with a pen review every week, typically around Saturday. And then every other week or so, I'll do a midweek review of something pen related. Today, I have a review of a pen accessory, a wrap to be more specific. And why don't you stay tuned after the end of this review because I actually have one of these wraps to give away. This wrap is made by a company by the name of Allegory. Allegory is a Chicago-based company that makes some handcrafted wooden pens, as well as some leather accessories and other pen accessories. The company was founded back in 2012 by the husband and wife team of Chad and Jess Schumacher. They were both working for a startup company which closed, and they were looking for some creative ways to get by while they were both job hunting. Chad's father had taken up some woodworking in his retirement and made a few pens, and so that gave Chad an idea. He found a couple pieces of wood with some great stories attached to them and crafted some pens, and after that he was hooked. They chose the name Allegory because their goal with the company was to make products that told a story, products that felt meaningful because they actually were meaningful. You know, an allegory is a story with multiple layers of meaning, and that's what Chad and Jess have worked to build with their company. You know, if you have a nice pen, that's one thing, but a nice pen with a story, that's something even more special. And their infinity-inspired logo is about timeliness. They want their work to outlive them. And the small arrow cutout is a nod to that journey that makes the story of the products. They've had a few successful Kickstarter projects. This one was for pens crafted from the original teak deck of the USS North Carolina. So after a few years of doing this, the shoemaker's part-time job just to get by has turned into much more. And this is what they now do full-time. The company began with pens, but they were looking for a way to diversify their product line. They had purchased some rather expensive equipment for their shop and that had a single use when making pens, and so they were wisely looking for some other products they could manufacture using the same equipment. And I guess Jess was talented with the sewing machines, so they began developing some high-quality leather products as well. So enough about backstory. Let's take a look at their wraps. The wraps are actually offered in a 4-slot and a 6-slot version and come in 3 different kinds of leather. There is a saddle, a charcoal, and a coffee. And here I have the 6-slot in the saddle and a 4-slot in a charcoal. So let's go over here and we'll get a closer look at these. Let's take a look at the 6-slot saddle first. The saddle is the most rugged texture of the 3 options. You know, the coffee finish has the same matte finish as the saddle, but it doesn't quite mark as easily, and it's a little bit of a darker brown. But this, again, is the saddle, and it's finished. The saddle is finished so it can develop a great deal of character. On the front here is the Allegory logo. And you know, I also had it engraved to say Fig Boot on there as well. That I purchased this wrap a couple of months ago, and I've taken it on several trips, and so it really has gotten some use. Now, typically, I really like to keep things as nice and pristine as possible, but you know, I kind of like the fact that this finish will change over time and develop some character. You know, when it first arrived, the leather was a bit on the firm side, but with use, it really has loosened up a bit. Let's open this up, and inside, I know we're tight on space here, but you can see over here on the left-hand side, very smooth as far as the inside of the leather, and then here's the actual business portion of the pen wrap. It's very soft inside but sturdy, and this is the 6-slot. The stitching and riveting is done very nicely. It's very well constructed, and I feel it's going to endure with quite a bit of wear and tear. But the big question is, will it fit all my pens? So I picked out a bunch of very large pens to see how they would fit. First of all, I have a Dolce Vita oversized, which is about as thick as they come, and that pen fits perfectly fine, no issues whatsoever. Then I have a Classic Pens LB5, which is again a very large pen, and that fits in there again just fine. Then we'll add a Wall Eversharp Deco band. Then we have a Sailor King of Pen. And then we have two of the largest pens in my collection as far as length. There's a Newton Orville. This thing is a very long pen, and that fits in there. It gets basically up to the top, and that's probably about as large as you want to have something in there, but it works just fine. And then also a Franklin Christoph Model 66. Like I said, the Newton comes pretty close to the edge, but as you can see, all of them fit in there perfectly fine. And I wasn't having to cram them in there at all. And then the flap folds down very easily. And then you, like the name implies, wrap it up. And I kind of like the fact that when you wrap it, the leather itself kind of folds between the pens, so the pens aren't rubbing or banging against one another. And then you just wrap this up, and then you wrap the strap around, and then just tuck it underneath. If I can actually get it in there. There we go. And you know what? That's not quite done well. Let's actually get it a little bit better. And when you tuck it in here, that it really doesn't come out. That I've never had this thing open once on its own. And that, it's very secure in here, and I've yet to have this open up, like I said, and that, now it's filled to the extreme with 6 very large pens, and that even though there's 6 very large pens in here, it really doesn't make this unwieldy, and I wouldn't have an issue with traveling with this in my bag or my backpack or something along those lines. So that is the saddle finish, but more interestingly, let's take a look at the one that we're giving away, which is this charcoal finish. The charcoal is a bit glossier and has a pebbled finish. The leather isn't quite as firm as the saddle. It's a little bit on the softer side, but the dimensions are the exact same as the 6 slot with just 2 less slots. So pens will fit in here. The same pens that I just demonstrated for the saddle will fit in here just fine. But this is the one that that we're giving away. And again, all you do is wrap it up and then use the strap and tuck it in, and then you are good to go. The 4 slot retails for $80 and the 6 slot for $90. So they're not inexpensive, but it's a quality handcrafted product that is really going to last you a very long time. If you'd like to pick up one of these wraps, I'll put a link to Allegory's site in the notes below. And when you pick something up, if you use the discount code FIGBOOT at checkout, it'll knock 15% off of your order. And that's actually a site-wide discount. So it's not just for these wraps. So, if you wanted to check out some of their other items and their pens as well, it'll take 15% off of those as well. And as I had previously mentioned, their wood pens use some very unique materials that have some really cool stories behind them. And this code will be good for an entire month. So from now until the end of September. I purchased this wrap for myself, but Allegory was kind enough to pass along this charcoal wrap for me to give away. So if you'd like to win this wrap, simply leave a comment in YouTube. As far as a suggestion for a comment topic, how about telling me about how you currently protect your pens when you leave the house? So today is Wednesday, August 31st. Sometime after midnight Eastern on Saturday, September 3rd, I'll randomly select a commenter to receive this very wrap. I'll reply to your comment, and then you can email or PM me your contact info, and I will get this wrap out to you. So I wanted to thank Chad and Jess from Allegory for donating this wrap, as well as for providing the discount code for the month of September. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later.